So Claude can now write copy, it can do full email calendars, it can do designs, it can do strategy, it can do reports, but does that really mean as an e-commerce brand owner that you should just cancel your agency subscription and do your email marketing yourself using Claude? In this video, I'm going to give you my honest breakdown, my honest opinion on this whole topic, and some of the answers might not be what you think. If you're new to the channel, my name's Adam. I'm the co-founder of Retention for Brands. We've worked with some of the biggest e-commerce brands in the space, managing their retention marketing, such as Snow Oral Care, Moon Magic, Tom Holland's brand Bureau, Furosity, Manicurist, and many more. So it's definitely safe to say I know a thing or two about this industry. I know this is a growing topic of discussion amongst agencies and obviously, of course, e-commerce brands. So without further ado, let's dive in. So in order to fully understand this topic, we first must understand what Claude AI can actually do for email marketing. And as it stands right now, and to be honest, this could change in the space of a day, never mind a week or a month. But right now, what it can do is write campaign copy. It can create calendars. It can create scoring and reviewing of emails. It can obviously analyze data, build email designs, build even full flows as well, and generate client reports or reports for your own brand using the MCP connector. So obviously quite a lot of stuff here. What's also important to know as well is that I or you, if you're running a business, could easily manage our company finances ourselves using AI. Does that mean we do it? No, it doesn't, because we have a CFO. I trust our CFO to do that job far better than I ever could, even with AI, because he has experience. So another analogy we can use here is, if you're sick, could you consult with AI? You absolutely could. You could probably get some form of diagnosis there, but you're still going to consult with a doctor. Now, that's really important to know, because AI is a tool. It's definitely not a strategist as of right now, and who knows what can happen in a week's time, a month's time, a year's time. But knowing what to ask, how to evaluate the output, and then when to actually override that, that's where the expertise lives. So what the gap is right now is the gap between AI alone, as of right now, and AI plus an expert is that with just like, let's say, Claude alone, you can generate a calendar that looks good on the surface. It might miss segmentation nuances, it might miss a revenue typing strategy, and it might have a generic brand voice. That's provided that there's no person in the driver's seat managing that AI, working with that AI, who actually knows what they're doing. Now, on the other hand, if you have Claude plus an expert strategist, it's the same speed, but real strategy. So you have a calendar tailored to brand goals and data, segmentation built on real customer behavior and experience from that strategist, promotions tied to revenue cycles, and you have a brand voice dialed in from experience. Now, the takeaway here is that Claude or AI in general speeds up the process, but you need the right person in the driver's seat. You can also use a Formula One analogy here. I'm not too into Formula One, but obviously you could have the fastest car in the world, but if you have just some random Joe next to, let's say, Max Verstappen, who's probably going to be faster? Who's probably going to be winning that race? That's kind of another analogy you can use here. So the question isn't like whether AI as of right now, and again, I keep saying as of right now because who knows what can happen in, a month's time, 6 months time, 12 months time. But the question isn't whether AI replaces agencies, it's what happens to agencies who don't use it. And that's the bigger issue right now. So the agencies that adopt AI in 2026, they can service clients faster, they can report better with real-time data and tighter feedback loops, and they can produce higher quality output at lower cost to the brand, and it just means they get more deliverables out faster, and basically everyone's winning there. And the thing to take away here is that the email teams, the email strategists who are adopting AI the fastest are the ones who are truly going to win in 2026. And I actually couldn't be any more bit excited about AI in our company. While most people are worrying about how it's going to completely wipe them out of a job, how it's going to completely take over everything, and while I do understand a certain element of that fear, I could never be more excited about how we can actually use this to service clients better, to provide better insights, to provide better reporting, and just be overall quicker in absolutely everything that we do. So the thing is, if you're a brand sitting there right now and you're actually asking yourself the same question, I must add a caveat that if you are a brand that's at an earlier stage, so for example, you're just getting started, or else you've maybe hit your first $1,000 day or your $2,000 day, does it make sense to run your email marketing yourself, or else like with maybe some person in-house who isn't actually an expert? Perhaps. It probably does. The reason being is because at that stage, you're essentially time rich, but you're cash poor. So you have that time to invest into obviously using AI, using Claude, managing it yourself, and really trying to get as much out of that as you can. However, if you're a brand who is doing a lot more revenue, has a bigger team size, potentially there's a lot more complexity, you are probably cash rich, but time poor. So that means that you would probably be better off going to an expert to actually run this for you, but just enhanced with AI. So if you really kind of strip it back, what are brands actually paying for when they hire an agency? They're paying for the years of experience, they're paying for the strategic judgment, they're paying for the accountability, and obviously right now, the AI leverage. And I think the strategic judgment part is definitely overlooked and can be overlooked. And I think like a lot of agencies and maybe brands to a certain extent don't actually think about that, because in an agency, you get access and you get insight into multiple different brands from different industries, and you are able to build up a lot of tacit knowledge and nuanced knowledge based on what's working in what industries. So that is something that like AI kind of has like general benchmarks, again, as of right now. But what AI doesn't have is that detailed experience of actually behind the scenes of what goes on in these e-commerce brands. And I mean things like Shopify data, things like LTV, things like actual segment sizes, and just generally tricks of the trade, for lack of a better way of putting it. AI probably doesn't really have access to that right now. It's certainly getting better, certainly definitely getting really, really strong. But I think that is a certain element which will obviously, of course, help quite a lot when it comes to servicing e-commerce brands. Also, as a brand owner or a business owner in general, you really need to audit how you are best spending your time. And I suppose that is probably a question for yourself to ask yourself, like, is this the best use of my time right now? Because obviously in e-commerce, email marketing is only one facet of the entire business. There's obviously supply chain, operations, team, acquisition as well. So that's obviously something that is important to think about. Do you really have time to sit down? Even sitting with AI, creating email designs, creating copy, creating calendars, creating strategy, doing reporting, all of that kind of stuff. Even with AI, it still requires a team of experts, a copywriter, designer, strategist to actually, pull all of this stuff together, even with AI, and actually, build a profitable email program. So I think ultimately the takeaway here is that Claude doesn't replace the agency right now. It definitely makes the agencies who adopt it the quickest very, very dangerous and very effective and efficient at what they do, meaning that they can serve their clients better. So as I said, I couldn't be more excited about this. I've been talking to a bunch of friends who are both on the brand side and of course on the agency side, and I feel like there's a lot of fear, mainly on the agency side, of course, and understandably, about where AI is going to, position their business in a couple of months' time. And I really think that right now, those who are just adopting, who are educating, who are really looking to maximize its use in their day-to-day workflows are going to be the ones who are far better off, rather than the ones who are, of course, sitting there wondering, kind of getting their head stuck in the sand. So I think this will be really interesting to revisit in maybe a month's time, 6 months' time, 12 months' time. But as of right now, this is my honest opinion. I really do think that, agencies are just going to be much more efficient. They're going to be able to serve their clients better. And I think overall, it's a win-win for absolutely everybody. The brand, the agency, and of course the staff within that agency as well. Their jobs are much easier now. It just means that they can deliver very, very fast. That's my honest opinion. And if you did like this video, please subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment if you have any questions. I really hope you enjoyed this one, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next video.